You know, 3D printing, it really does feel like magic, right? You take a digital file, you hit print, and poof, you watch a physical object just appear out of thin air. But what happens when that magic sputters out? Here's the thing. That journey from a perfect design on your screen to a perfect product in your hand, it's almost never a straight line. And that's exactly what we're going to break down. And it's so important to get this right from the start. This isn't about you making a mistake. It's just a fundamental part of the whole process. When you're trying to turn a digital idea into a real physical thing, mistakes aren't just common. They are practically guaranteed. I mean, if you've ever used a 3D printer, you know this feeling deep in your soul. You spend hours, maybe even days, getting a design just right. You wait with all this excitement, and what you get is a warped, cracked, totally useless piece of plastic. It's so frustrating, right? Feels like a complete waste of time and material. So that brings us to the real question here. The answer isn't about trying to avoid failure altogether. That's impossible. It's about building a system that actually uses that failure as a deliberate step towards getting a flawless final product. It's a huge shift in mindset from just printing to always learning. Okay, so before you even get close to that print button, you need a strategy. The real key to rapid prototyping has nothing to do with printing faster. It's about having a rock-solid pre-testing plan that steers your entire process from the get-go. So for a serious project, this is what that game plan actually looks like in practice. Let's say you're printing a prosthetic limb. Before you print a single thing, you define exactly what it needs to do. You set the criteria for success. You figure out all the tests, the resources you'll need, and the timeline. So you see, this isn't just some boring checklist. No, it's a full-on battle plan that's going to guide every single decision you make. All right, with that plan locked in, it's time to put your prototype through its paces. And we're not talking about just one little test here. We're talking about a gauntlet, a whole series of trials in two totally different arenas, the digital world and the real physical one. So testing really happens in two main stages. First up is virtual testing. This is where you use computer simulations to hunt down major design flaws, things stress points or weak areas, before you waste even a single gram of filament. It's fast and it's cheap. Only after it passes that stage do you move on to physical testing to see how the actual printed part holds up to real hands-on use. So what does that look like? Well, in the virtual world, you could have a digital twin of that prosthetic limb and drop it into a simulated environment. You'd have testers use it to do things like drive a virtual car or type on a keyboard. And all the while, the software is just gobbling up data on performance and flagging potential design problems. Then it's time for the real world. A tester actually wears the printed prototype. They're navigating obstacle courses with real stairs or uneven ground. You've got specialized equipment measuring every little thing: performance, fit, comfort. You're gathering the kind of priceless feedback you can only get from an actual human interaction. Now, this is where things get really cool. A prototype might look absolutely perfect on the outside, but what about the inside? How in the world do you find those tiny internal cracks or weak spots that could lead to a total failure later on? You literally have to see the invisible. Well, the answer is to bring in the heavy hitters, tools like ultrasonic testing. You can pretty much think of it like a medical ultrasound, but for your product. High-frequency sound waves scan the entire internal structure of the print, letting engineers spot hidden voids or weaknesses that your eyes would completely miss. It's a game changer. So, you've gone through all this testing. You've gathered mountains of data from both your virtual and your physical trials. Now what? Well, now you enter the most important phase of the entire process, the refinement cycle. The whole mantra here is fail fast, succeed sooner. It's all about a rapid, iterative loop designed to evolve the product. And this is what kicks off that loop. You start by digging into all that test data, everything from the digital simulations to the real-world feedback. And you're looking for any flaw, any weakness, any opportunity to make it better. Based on what you find, you pinpoint specific changes. Maybe a certain angle needs to be adjusted for better comfort, or maybe the internal structure needs to be beefed up for more strength. Then you take those changes and plug them right back into the digital blueprint, the CAD model. You're essentially creating a smarter, better, more evolved version of the original design. And then You hit print on the new prototype. But this isn't just another random print. This is a physical object that has all the lessons from those previous failures baked right into its DNA. And here, this is the absolute key. You do it all over again. Yep, you heard me. You repeat this entire process. Test, analyze, modify, reprint, over and over again until that final design is as close to flawless as you can get. Now, this whole process sounds like a perfect, well-oiled machine. But of course, we all know the real world is messy. Every single project is going to run into roadblocks, so a truly successful process is one that actually expects and navigates these inevitable constraints. And believe me, you're always up against real-world constraints. The perfect material might be way too expensive, your printer might not be big enough or precise enough, that fancy testing equipment might not be available, and of course there's always the classic pressure of time, budget, and let's be honest, simple human error. A truly great project is one that finds a way to work through all of these challenges. And this, right here, this brings us to the single most important takeaway from all of this. It's never been about how fast the printer can print. It's always been about how fast you can learn. Each failed print, every flawed test, it's just a lesson. The real goal is to soak up those lessons as quickly as possible to speed up the journey to a perfect design. So the next time you have a failed print, don't look at it as a setback. See it for what it is, data. See it as a necessary step on the path to creating something truly incredible. With this mindset, every mistake isn't a failure, it's progress. So what great idea will you bring to life?